Oh, hello. Just get my camera set up better. And my coffee cup. Here we go. It's a nasty view of my back to begin with. Like that. Transition that. Hi. Welcome to another stream. I'll just do a check on my audio, make sure the mic looks like the mic's working. Hopefully that won't crash on us. There's no one here with me at the moment. That's okay. That's okay. I am still testing the PC that I built just the other week, and getting used to setting up my OBS settings again to stream. For some reason my little control panel wasn't showing this morning, but I just needed to sign back into Google, so that was a bit awkward. Wait, just zoom in a wee bit. There we go. Alright, well, I'm going to start with a coffee. Fair trade, of course. Although, sometimes you wonder what that really does mean for the farmers, right? And it looks like we're all set to go. So I'll just record this as a normal sort of video, as well as normal as I can do. The scene that I'm painting, if you've been following the live series, is my wife Helen. She's sitting on this big rock in a wilderness, and this is going to be a river that's flowing by. Very much like real time, you know, real life. That's just how it is. We just end up sitting on rocks. Life flows by, and sometimes it feels like we're in the wilderness. But it was a lovely place where we took this photo. A grey day, if I remember right. So I'm just trying to bring in a little more sunshine. You'll see in the reference photo I'm showing at the moment that this background's actually quite dark. That was probably more the camera than anything else. And at the base of the river, there was this must have been sort of like a rocky not cliff, but hill coming down into the river, and the final rocks will be where the water rises so high that the trees don't have anything to sort of grab onto. Yeah, so I'm going to keep working on this rock today. There's going to be I'm going to try and get some of the red from her dress spread into the rock as well, and that'll flow down into this spot. I'll have to try and probably just move the easel over a wee bit to make sure that you're not getting this view. We don't want that. We don't want you to just see my back. That would be bad. So thanks for joining. I'll be streaming through to 11 or just after, and try and make some more progress on this particular painting. In the background, the washing machine is doing its cycles, and which just seems to be, I stream on a Monday. Helen likes to it's kind of Monday is house day. Every day is house day. What am I talking about? There's always something in a house to be done. But Mondays is definitely a wash day. And she's in the garden at the moment. And when I am filming this, we're just finishing summer and heading into autumn. So in fact today is the 26th of Feb 24 that I'm recording this. Got an extra day of summer with the leap year. But honestly, the weather's pretty grey at the moment. You can't really see because it's just a bright light behind me from the garage windows. Grey out there. We're going to be having some rain later. Okay, so just move that over there. We don't need that. Yep, I moved that. Another slug of coffee. So far on the rock, in the reference photo you'll see it's quite grey. And the paper that I'm using, which is a pastel mat, that's a blue-grey. So I've got some of that's going to stay in there, but I've decided that turquoise is my grey colour. So turquoise, and I'm just using the pan pastels for this. So turquoise is this beautiful blue, and fantastic in skies. It's wonderful. And then by mixing black with it, you get this darker shade, more grey version of that blue. Yeah, this is called turquoise shade. And then it goes to a extra dark. Let's check that, yeah. So the extra dark, let's see. The turquoise seems to work well with the, as a grey, the greyness that I'm finding in here works well on the rock. So I'll just bring up my reference photo because I'm kind of watching myself stream. This over a bit. Just hope that the audio and everything's working. I'll bring up the chat window should anyone actually jump in, but I hadn't been advertising this stream. This is just me jumping on. I probably need to do that a little bit more, just jump on and start in the studio. To get this painting done, because really it should be done by now. But the stream takes about I do the stream in an hour, and I think we've had 4 streams so far. One crashed halfway through with my old PC, and so we only had half hour painting then. So effectively this painting's had maybe 3.5 hours work done on it to block it into where it is now. And for, I mean, some artists complete, pastel artists complete their whole work in an hour. But clearly that doesn't include me. And I'm not trying to emulate anyone else's work, just trying to find my own way. On my own way through the paintings. This is, of course, a sort of this video channel that I'm doing has become more of a. It's not so much a vlog, you know. So the video blog where people just. Well, I suppose I just talk about anything as well that's on top of my head. I know my wife watches some sewing channels, and occasionally the person will do filler content. The YouTuber will do some sort of filler content to, you know, this is the fabric I've bought. These are the materials I've got. This is what I'm going to do next. And I get that from YouTubers I follow who do how to build a PC. And you get a video where it's like, well, here's all my materials. Okay, yeah, I see a bunch of boxes, that's great. And now can you assemble them? And then at the end of the video, it's like, and then in the next video, we'll show you how to assemble it. Okay. It can be hard to have a constant stream of consciousness. But so on this channel, it's more though, what I'm trying to do is just show you, I started pasteling not that long ago. So start of the pandemic was when I picked it up, apart from having done a little bit of painting 20 years ago. No training, and all I did was watch a bunch of YouTubes, often actually about the materials. How about that? You know, what's in the box? So maybe those videos do have an audience, and I shouldn't knock them. But what those videos tend to do is make you go out and buy stuff. And you end up with a whole lot of materials, and you haven't done anything. You get to the spot and you go, well, now what do I do? So eventually you've actually got to just pick up the tools and start using them. And there's often quite a bit of fear, I found. Once so pastels, or any art equipment, or any hobby, you know, so I know this, my wife does sewing, and I'm always saying, well, you know, just buy the material you really like. But she'll buy some and then make a template out of it to make sure that when she does get to the good material, she knows it's going to fit, and knows her way around the pattern. And Bob Ross used to do that actually in painting. He would do a painting before he did the show, and so he'd know exactly what he was going to be doing on his show. So, okay, well, I'm going to put a tree in here. Well, he already knew what that tree, you know, how the painting was going to end up looking. I've just got the washing machine and spin cycle in the background. So if you can hear that, I am sorry. But that's life, right? It's just... unless you live in a place without washing machines, that's got to be tough. So where was my stream of consciousness? I was talking about the purpose of this channel. That's what I was trying to talk about. Wandered off down different tracks. So the purpose of this is, as I said, I started pasteling just a few years ago, and really to demonstrate to myself that, well, apart from the fact I didn't have any work at the time and I needed something to do to feel creative. And we all need to feel like we're contributing in some way. And then as I started and decided to keep going, and I had now bought all this materials from having watched these videos on YouTube, so I had more pastel pencils, because I tended to watch videos on pastel pencils. I think there just happened to be more YouTubers doing pastel pencils that were popular and easily accessible and had quite a wow factor. Wow is what I'm trying to say. Like you'd look at the painting or the drawing, however you want to describe it, and just go, wow, that's really something. And because they were often wildlife or, you know, domestic animals. Pastels and animals are, and especially the pencils. Pencils are fantastic for fur. Beautiful medium for fur. It's got there's a texture to it that just don't often see in oils or acrylics, but the pastels just do them magnificently. Anyway, so I had been I'd been watching these videos, and so what happens is you go out and you buy the stuff, right? So let's see if I got one here. Just give you a good shot of my back. Here we go. So here's a classic. Faber-Castell's 60 pit pastel pencils. So we open that up, and do you notice something about these pastels? They've hardly been used. Why have they hardly been used? Let's just pop this over here. They've hardly been used because they were really expensive. And when you're starting off in pastels, you're like, I don't want to make a mess. What if I get it wrong? Let's move that up there so I can see what I'm doing. So, the same thing happens with, grab a stick. So, this is a Rembrandt Verde green. permanent green light. And you get these things, and I mean, they cost, different, obviously, in different countries. But inflation kind of follows us around the world. So I think a pastel stick might be about $6 in New Zealand. $6. And you end up needing quite a few. So this is sort of my collection. There's a lot of sticks there, right? And so 10 sticks is $60. I hate to think how much I've spent on pastels. And so if you're when you're new to a hobby, you don't know what you don't know, and so you jump in and then you go, oh, that's not how I imagined it to look. It's like I hoped I was going to get something like I saw on that YouTube video. But instead, I do not have that. And so what happens is you get a bit of reluctance to just clean this up a bit. You can get a reluctance to use the materials that you've now gone and spent all that money on, because you don't want to waste them. It's just crazy how our minds can work, or at least how mine does. I've invested all this stuff, so now I better not use it. I saw a post on LinkedIn just yesterday, and it was all cartoon. And these two characters, one's got a bunch of books in the background, and the other character comes along and says, "Oh, you read a lot." Or "You must love reading," or something like that. I think it was, yeah, you must love reading. And the person, the other character says, "Oh, I haven't read any of them." And the other person goes, "Oh, you must love collecting books." It's like, yeah. That's the story of our lives, isn't it? We collect stuff and we miss the opportunity to use it. We inherited, well, we didn't inherit, we were given China tea set, tea and teacups and saucers and plates from a mother-in-law. Beautiful set, barely been used. It'd been for decoration. She loved collecting pretty things. Didn't necessarily love using them. So well, we pull them out when friends come round. Give them a nice cup to enjoy their tea in. So the pan pastels, the great thing about pan pastels, I mean, there's many great things about them, but this contains more than a stick of pastel, and it's cheaper. And it's not only cheaper and has more pastel pigment in it, it goes further. So it lasts longer, there's more in here, it's cheaper, and it's got some properties that pastel sticks just don't have. So that's why I recommend them for people beginning pastel journey. Because they're economical, and you don't seem to have the same, or at least I've not had the same fear of using them, and they just don't break. Although I have heard of some who have had them delivered and this has been all cracked. But personally, I've never had that experience myself, so can't comment on it. but they're very economical to use. And easy to apply. A pastel stick will sometimes break on you. That's really frustrating. You'll be doing a mark and then snap, and you get all this this moment where there's pastel fragments and dust. And it's probably a technique thing, right? It's probably just just gripping it too hard. But it's frustrating when it happens anyway. I just caught up in my thoughts there. Just watching the shape of the rock. Now, I know I said I'm going to be putting the red in here. I'm still starting to blend a bit. Still in the blue phases. Going to pull some greens onto this rock as well. So I think there's some light happening. From there's so many trees around that all that green light's going to bounce. It's going to bounce in the river. It's going to be bouncing up and reflecting, and going to get some green in Helen's hair, shadows on her back, coming down her arm. Yeah, so you've got to, there's a bit of how I paint is, well, it's intuitively, because I'm not painting by the rules, and because I don't know what the rules are. Actually, life's like that, isn't it? Often we don't know what the rules are. You know, I mean, governments love making rules, so there's basic rules of speeding, and it's moral rules, taking someone's life or stealing their stuff. And society knows those rules. But like when if you're a parent, you know, and you get your first child and you go, where's the instruction book? Where's the manual? What do I do? And gotta just try and do your best, and sometimes that's not good enough. Sometimes life's a bit like a painting that just doesn't quite come together. But even in a painting which hasn't quite worked, there'll often be good bits. You can go, oh well, you know, that bit there, that was pretty good. So But in my art, I just don't have the. I'm sure there's some who approach a painting in a not a clinical way, but a methodical way, and they go, "Yep, I'm going to do these bits first, and then I've got to mix these colours and do this section and tend to feel my way through the painting, which is why I'm not giving instructions on how to paint, because you will all feel differently when you approach a picture. But the only advice I can really give is paint what you love. Paint what you love. And if you can't connect with your subject, it won't come out your painting. You go, oh well, why did you wait so long before you painted Helen then? You painted all these other dancers. Mainly dancers, yeah, I did a lot of dancers. Well, we're back to the materials again, and I want to know that I'm at least competent of doing a template before I start on the real thing. I kind of discussed that. I've got a video that I'm going to be uploading later this week, where I've done a painting of Helen at a waterfall. Painting her at a waterfall, and it was a beautiful spot. And I explained why it took so long before I painting off here. Everyone else, but and there were other people that I painted as well that I was like, oh, I want to do them justice. I mess it up. Unfortunately, that's a bit of a handicap, isn't it? There's an ancient saying that fear acts as a restraint. There's no fear in love. So we often don't try things because we're a bit worried about the outcome. Whereas in fact, if we just did it and accepted the fact it's not going to be fantastic, and that would work, or at least it'd be better than doing nothing. Just fiddling around the edges. Why we are philosophical today. So, but coming back to the story. So why the channel? Because I believe, and I've demonstrated this in work. I used to do business transformation. Business transformation is when you've got a gnarly problem for a business. Often they're losing significant amounts of money, and they need it fixed. Go there and the people are demoralized, and they're doing their best. They're just, given the processes and the tools they have, they're just doing their best. And I used to coach individuals and teams and take them from being the lowest performers on the sites to being the top performers, so that no one else could catch them. And it was getting them to believe in themselves and believing in them. If you honestly don't believe in people, they'll never achieve. They'll never achieve it. I've seen that time and time again, where a little bit of self-belief just changes everything. so I believed in art. There's my Helen in the background. Okay, come and say hello on the stream.
Bonjour.
She says bonjour in the background. She's not actually French. Bringing in the washing. Where was I? Oh yes. So I've helped people triple their results. There was this lovely lady, a project I worked on, and I remember sitting down. I can still feel it, just sitting there. She was a good performer, and she was doing something like, whatever it was, 50 or 60 widgets a day. And when I say widgets, it was very complicated legal documents that had been scanned in, and then we had to interpret that and put it into a database. So they wanted to go from paper records to digital ones, but you actually had to understand legal language from 120 years ago. And you try getting a Generation Z person to understand normal mail, or a voicemail, or the technology just moves on, and we just don't know. And reading stuff in is it copper plate writing? Is that what they call it? It's beautiful script writing, but hard to read. Anyway, so it was complicated activity, and this lady was in what's her name? Terry. She was in quality control, so she was checking everyone's work, and she was very good. Good with feedback as well for helping people improve. And I sat down with her and I told her my dream and what I believed. I said, you're doing great. You're doing 50. And I believe that we can easily actually do 100 a day. I actually believe we can do 200. And I helped her walk through visualizing what it was like to achieve that sort of result. And I said, I'm going to reward people who do that. And I set up we call it gamification, but you'll know it as classic leaderboards. And it was, I had the 1 ton, 2 ton, 3 ton clubs. And if you manage to do 100 of these things in one process, I think it was in a day, or it could have been over a week. Can't remember. It's a long time ago. But if you did 100, then you got your name on the board and under the 1 ton group. If you did 200, then that was the 2 ton and the 3 ton, which no one ever believed. So we had consultants into this project. I had about 300 people, 200 in the day, 100 at night work. And one of the big 4 consulting companies came in. Either Deloitte's or KPMG. I think it might have been KPMG. And they looked at what we were doing and said, you're not going to do any better than what you are. They kind of wrote us off. And it was just before I took over as transformation manager. I said, oh, you can't do anything. This is as good as it gets. You should probably fire people and just cut your losses. And it's just hopeless advice. And they charged, whatever it was, $2,000 per person per day. Man, should have charged more for that project. Anyway, so at that stage, I think we were doing as a whole site about 12,000 widgets. a day, and I stood in front of the team. And I took over and said, "People say that you can't do this. This project is impossible. Well, I don't believe that. I think they're wrong. And I actually think we can do 40,000 a day. A day or a week? Might have been a week. But, this is how we can do it." And they're all quiet, but I'd actually spent some time working there, so they knew me. And they'll wander off. Anyway, so I go sit with this lady, Terry, and I said, "I'd like you to be part of this program. I'm going to have this reward system, and if you get into this thing, I'll have we'll pull people's names out of a hat at random, and if they're in the 1 ton club for the week, we'll pull their name out and they get a prize. And if you get into the 3 ton club, you get an instant one every week." So I don't know what her motivation was, but she took that moment to believe in herself. And her effort, what she was doing doubled within sort of like a week. And people were amazed. Like, what? And then they saw me put up these 1 ton, 2 ton, 3 ton. She's the first into the club. She gets her prize. And then she gets another one the next week. And people start going, "I want to know how to do that. I want my name on that." And they could now believe that it was possible. And so the whole site, just, you could feel this change from, instead of dreading to come to work and feeling like you're a failure. None of us like that feeling. Because the red, just so you know, just putting down that red, we're in the danger zone. And yeah, so the whole site, because this one lady had the self-belief that she was more than what others believe she was. And I live in a country where we've got a lot of racial problems. It's just how it is. The world's a broken mess. Because we're all the same people, right? Just we look different. I mean, I look funny, right? Can't fix that. That's just how I am. I suppose I could go to a plastic surgeon and we laugh and go, "You know what? Can't do anything for you, Mr. Kitchen, but we'll take your money." But we're all just people. But anyway, so we live in a racist society. And so Terry had experienced racism because she's Mary. Her best friend on the site, who she used to work with, lovely Mary girl from at that time it was a sort of a tough part of the, if people said, "Oh, I'm from Porirua," you immediately sort of got this vision of, "Oh, okay." And I don't remember her name. Anyway, she was missing a couple of front teeth, and she was outstanding. What a worker. Man, the quality. And I took her to another project. I took them both to another project, the sister project, which was mathematical in nature. And now you're looking at documents that were full of Well, they were survey maps. And at this moment, my brain completely shuts down. But it was all the measuring of plots of land and where houses went, and you had to take those mathematical measurements and put them into, capture those and translate them. So these women were outstanding how they could do that. And mathematically, compared to some of the young white graduates who had an extremely high opinion of their skills, and yet they could not match this person with missing teeth from Porirua, who I hope she ended up getting a fantastic job actually after those projects, because she deserved it. Anyway, so that's where I sort of started getting into this self-belief. I had read a lot of books about how our brain works. Didn't mean that I was able to apply them all, but I understood a bit about how it worked. That if you believe you can do something, well, you're halfway there. Of course, jumping off a cliff and flapping your arms, believing you're going to fly, does not guarantee success. Belief needs a little bit more. Needs a little bit more than that. Just trying to find where all the reds go in this this rock. I'm going to tone them back with a tint. So this is permanent red. Try and get that on an angle that you can see it. This is permanent red. That's the tint. And that's the mid-tone, or pure as Pastel calls it. Stage, I just want to mapping out where those are. Yeah, we're going to get some purples in here. It's going to be nice. Yeah, so the reason I decided to do art was because I'd seen people start from nothing. Like when we started those projects, we had no knowledge of those legal documents. They were foreign to us. Now, there were a few people on projects, and they were hired specifically, who did know about it. Conveyors and surveyors. But for the most part, we did not know. And so we started from scratch, and we finished that project 3 months ahead of schedule. Saved millions of dollars in losses. Millions of dollars of losses. And the next project, because I'd seen how powerful the belief system was, I took over the sister project, and company now had some faith that I could fix that one as well, which was really badly stuck. In 2 years, they'd only produced they could count them on their hands. On one hand, they could count the number of items that they'd been able to produce and send to the client that had been error-free. and the quality was so bad. I turned up, I says, oh, what's your quality like? And they went, oh, it's, 90 something percent. Like, I don't understand, because from what I see, every single one of your bits of work that you send forward gets rejected by the client. They go, oh yeah, that's true, but within that piece of work, 95% of it's correct. You do realise that if something's faulty, the whole thing's faulty. It was quite an education process, but our brains will justify that. I mean, it's happened to me too. I'll just rationalise this because I don't actually like otherwise what the outcome is. I don't want to be considered a failure, so I'll just write it off as, well, that wasn't so bad. And that's what it is with art. So you do a painting, and certainly in the blocking in phase, what I'm doing at the moment, we've had 11. I'll just go for a little bit longer. And not that anyone join today, but there'll be some who watch it in the future. So in blocking in's terrible. Honestly, it's in the sense that it's okay to do. It's not onerous or anything. But even as an artist, you got to keep projecting in your mind, where is this going? Where am I taking the viewer? Because it's easy to get lost. I mean, you go, that is bunched turquoise, and now you've thrown red in, and it's just, it's a mess. What's this stuff in the background? It's just marks of greens, and what is going on here? But as an artist, you're looking at your reference, and that's your hope. That's where you're trying to. That's your destination. That's what you're trying to interpret, and that's where you're heading. So you could give up on the blocking in stage, and you may find that in fact you do the painting, it just doesn't work. But not every piece is going to be a masterpiece, and none of my pieces are masterpieces, although I've got some on my wall, and I go back and I look at them and I go, wow, came out of my hands and my head, my heart. Yeah, there's some hope. Some hope it's gonna. So I live in hope that my art will get better, and like these ladies of those projects, my productivity will go up. But the quality will, that's what I'm really looking for, is the achieve some sense of quality. So we're now going to execute a bit of this not going to panic about how bright that is, because we're going to knock it back. Just need to start getting a sense of this rock. Getting the essence of this rock pulled out, and there's going to be some turquoise that's going to sit on this, but I could see in my mind lots of Lots of this pinky red are poking through. It may be the rock has actually got some iron, something in it, causing that. No. Helen is the geologist in our family. Reading some books on composition of the earth. So I'm not sure what the river rock was made of, but I just see so much red in it. Maybe that's the camera playing some tricks there. I'm just using this. Sometimes I get a bit carried away and I forget what direction the shape is. You've got to kind of train your eye to shape moving from. Rather than go, oh well, I'm going to start blending. You get caught up in the activity of blending rather than representing. So we're always trying to go, what do I see? And direction is so important to painting. Or at least that's what I found. If I can get the direction right, then like we're doing here. It's not about creating strands of hair. Knock that back. About that. It's not going to stay like that. We're just getting the colours on, and they're gonna getting our base layers on this rock. It's going to change. Better change, otherwise it'll be one of those, well, you know what, we tried. Gave it our best shot, and we'll have to come back when we're more competent. The thing is, I could be doing this using pastel pencils, much smaller scale, I think. Something like this. Do it on a sort of a maybe an A4 and an A3, and using pastel pencils, you can get this quite a satisfying feeling to get it to look a lot like the subject, but when you're using effectively dry on dry pigment, that is the technique. So they talk about wet on wet. I'm doing dry on dry, and see there's these little dots that occur, and they're great. I need those little dots. I need those strokes. They're what's going to give the stone character. So where did I go? What was I talking about here? The direction of here. If you can, so when I do my transfer at the start, and must know which way the gear is going, because that is the essence of truth of the painting. You don't have to get every single strand right or the to look exactly the same, but it's the representation of that. That's what matters. At least to me. At least to me. And I'm the one doing the painting. Although I do hope that there will be some who come and watch the stream and go, you know what, I could do that. I could do it better. Fantastic. Please do. I am very aware that still in my infancy for painting, and eventually I will probably have techniques as well. And I'll go, oh, you know, like how Bob Ross, if you've watched him. I like Bob. I like the way he talked. How he had changed himself. He used to be quite a brutal sergeant. So he didn't want to shout anymore. Anyway, he knew exactly what brushes he was going to use for doing trees. So you watch the series long enough and you go, oh yeah, I know how he's going to do that. How he'd do the water. And which is good, because the more you watch it, the more you feel comfortable with his technique, because you see it happening. The way he would do his the snow on the mountains with a palette knife. Beautiful. And it's going to happen to me one day. Not today. Today I'm still blocking in this rock. And I'm going to have to come back to this rock. A bit more blending. We're going to put some lighter turquoise up here. But I needed to get these reds in today to map out where I'm going. So I've got some ochre to come in here, some ochres down here. Might use, I actually think I'm going to use bright yellow green. So we've used this up in the trees, and I can see it in the shadows around Helen. So that's gonna come in as well. I think probably it's time for me to go have another coffee. My creativity's getting a little depleted. And we'll carry on this painting in the next stream. There will be another. Let's use up some of this. More. Plain. That's it. There it goes. Sometimes when you're painting, at least for me. I don't see things until later, and then the more you, because often your eye will take in everything. Taking in everything, it misses the point. What you're trying to achieve. So you're seeing too much information. Some artists, when they're using reference photos, blur them. So they don't want to see any detail whatsoever, because they think that's going to, and it obviously helps them. It's a technique that helps. But they don't want to anything to. They don't want to look at too much detail. That's what it is. Just want to see what it represents and take it from there. I've got this lumpy bit going on here. The rock sweeps out where its foot is. Sweep out. And it's got these sort of broken bits. This is water down here. We'll fix that. But yeah, who knew? Rocks, pink rocks. Don't be afraid of the colours. You've bought all those colours, so just see what happens. And always with pastel, it's the pigment's just on the paper. If you want to knock it off, just get a brush. I don't have one handy, do I? No, I don't normally take it off, but you just get a soft brush. Just brush your paper. It'll come off. And start again. So that's an hour. For those who are watching the replay, thank you very much. If you've got anything to comment on, good or bad, drop me a comment. It's always good for the channel, good for me. Don't mind hearing what people say. Well, I do. I mean, don't be hurtful. Come on, just a beginner. Okay, let's do a shutdown, and gotta find the live stream. Yep. Okay. So thank you very much for joining the stream. Really appreciate it. See you again.